Hey everyone, and welcome to this tutorial on how to get your mic sounding more professional by using Voicemeeter Banana and ReaPir plugins. So before we get started, the very first two things you'll need to get are two pieces of software. The first one is Voicemeeter Banana. So I'll put a link in the description below where you can go download this. For this video, I'm not going to go too in depth on how to get this set up to work with whatever setup you have. But there are a bunch of YouTube videos out there to, hook up your microphone, hook up your speakers, configure your applications, whatever you need to get this set up. So that'll be the first piece of software you'll need. The next item you'll need is to download Reaper. So Reaper is a free digital audio workstation, and it comes with all the plugins that you need in order to make your sound just fuller, clearer, better overall. So this will be the other thing you need to download. So I've seen a bunch of videos out there on how to get Voicemeeter Banana set up, and you can tweak that to make your voice sound good. I've seen one for Cantabile Lite, but I had a lot of issues with that with static sound and robot sounds every time I tried to use it. Seems to be a common thing that I've seen out there, but I haven't seen any tutorials on how to properly set up Reaper with Voicemeeter. So I wanted to set up this tutorial for everyone. So just so everyone knows, the microphone that I am using is this cheap 5-fine USB microphone. I got it for around 30 bucks. With the pandemic, it's spiked up a little bit. And I'm also going to demonstrate a headset microphone that I'm going to be using. And that's just this plug-in v-moda Boom Pro microphone. So I just wanted to call those out because this is not a professional microphone. You can use cheap equipment for this. I'm all about maximizing, the cheaper hardware to get your streams, voiceovers, whatever you're using it for, sounding as best as possible. So I'm not going to do any, post-production editing for the audio for this video, but I just wanted to start with that. So the first thing you'll need to do, once you get Voicemeeter set up, so I already have everything set up with my 5-fine microphone here, my headset microphone here. You'll want to go into the system settings here. And when you're in here, down on the very bottom here, there's this patch insert section. And what you're going to want to do is enable the input left and right. I also have 3 selected on here just because that's where my headset microphone is. So I like to use my headset microphone for gaming. I like to use my plug and play microphone for pretty much everything else. But basically what these inserts do is they take your signal that's going into Voicemeeter Banana, sends it out to whatever plugin host that you're using, which we will be using Reaper, and then it sends it back into Voicemeeter Banana before it actually outputs. So once you get that set up, you'll open up Reaper, and I already have mine all set up right now. I'm doing this just so you can see what effects that I'm using. But when you first launch Reaper, it's probably going to look something like this. It's going to be completely blank. So I've seen, tutorials out there, and I got kind of lost here because nobody really dove into how to set this up. But what you're going to do when it's blank like that, the very first thing is you're going to want to go to the options and go to your preferences here. And under the device section here on the left, this is where you're going to configure Reaper to use Voicemeeter for any of your inputs. So the ASIO driver that you're going to use is the Voicemeeter Insert Virtual ASIO. The settings should look like this, input 1 left, input 1 right, input 1 left and right for output. And then the sample rate, I think it defaults to 44,100. I increased mine to 48,000 just because that's what my microphone uses within Voicemeeter. There's no way for me to change that. But I would make sure that this option right here matches whatever is in your system settings for your microphone. So you can see right here from my physical input 1, the sample rate is 48,000. So I just switched it over to that. Once you get that set up, just go ahead and click OK. And then If these weren't here, the very first thing you do is you would just right click and go to Insert New Track. Put that on the bottom here so you can see it. So this is what it's going to look like when you first set it up. So in order to get your mic to start to route through this track, you're going to click on this record button right here. And after you click that, you can see that my microphone's already starting to come through here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is over here, you're going to want to change this to record, disable, input monitoring only. And then under the effects here, you just need to make sure that your mic's coming through. I use mono for my mic. I know other people have used stereo. I've seen tutorials that say that. Really whatever works best for you. I'm not sure if it matters that much, but mine is set to mono. And then after that, you can start putting some effects and plugins to use your mic. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this track. So this effects button right here is what's used to turn your effects off like this or on with everything. So when you click on the actual FX, that's when it's going to bring up whatever plugins you can use with Reaper. So when you first launch this, it's probably going to have everything completely blank right here. So the very first thing you're going to want to do is click this add button. And I have a lot of plugins here. You know, there's no one solution that fits for everyone. So you'll need to toy around with this a little bit to see what works best for your setup. But the couple that I think you absolutely should use, the very first one is this ReaFir. So when you're inside here, if you click on all plugins over here on the left, and then you can just filter, if you type REA, this will bring up a lot of the plugins that we're going to be using. So the very first one is this ReaFir. So you just click that, click add, and it'll pop up right here. And it's going to look something like this. So basically what we're going to use this for is to set up your sound profile to remove a lot of the background noise. So if you have, you know, electronic humming going on, or you have fans going on in your room, this will help, you know, limit and get rid of those sounds. So the first thing that you're going to want to change is this edit mode. You're going to change it. I think it's on point smooth to start. You're just going to change it to precise. And then this mode, it starts on EQ. You're just going to want to change it to subtract. And that's how this option right here is going to show up for you. So basically what you're going to do, I think this will just be a flat line somewhere up here around 0 decibels. So what you want to do is once you click this line, you'll just have to be really quiet for a second. I'll go ahead and do that really quick just so you can see what it does. But essentially, it's just going to measure whatever background noise is going on in your room. Like I said, if you have fans or computer fans going, and it's going to try and limit those so that you don't hear it in your audio stream. So even when I don't talk for a second, you can see that there's still noise in my room. So when you click this automatically build noise profile, it's going to get rid of all that. So I'm going to do that right now. And then when you wait a couple seconds, you can see it built your noise profile right here. So that's the very first thing that you'll do. Pretty easy. The next thing that I think is essential, you'll click add. Again, you'll type in that REA. It might already be up for you, but it's this ReaEQ. So when you open that one up, the very first thing, I think it'll just be on factory default settings. But there's a lot of presets up here in order to make this as simple as possible, to make it sound as good as possible. The very first one that is a good one to use is this stock mud free. So you can see what this is doing in the EQ. It's taking out a lot of that bass. There's a dip right here to reduce some of that muddiness. Same here on this 3. So this is where I would encourage you to start to experiment with this, see what works best for you. So if I go into this second one, it's selected right here. You can change how much you want this to go up. So right now it's at -6. You can make that -6.5, -7. Same thing with 3. You know, you can raise that, lower that. Same thing with 4. I think I actually increased this one a little bit by 2.5 just because I like the little bit more treble in my voice. So this is something that you can just toy with in real time. You can record yourself in Audacity, play it back, and just see what sounds the best for you. The next one that I have is this exciter. So this one, it kind of acts like an EQ. It's just a little bit different. So I have this up in the 5600 range, and I just have it boosted by 2.5 decibels. And then the harmonics percentage, I have that mixed in at 36. That seemed to be a good sound for me. But again, you can start with these and you can tweak it as you need to. The next one I have is the auto expander. So this basically acts as a limiter. So if you have a mechanical keyboard and there's a lot of typing going on in the background, you can use this as a guide on how to eliminate that noise. So what I found, and let me see if there's a way I can demonstrate this without messing this up too much. So right now when I stop talking and I start doing some typing, you'll see that there'll be some noise. So I'll do that right now. So you can see that there's, right around up to -30 where my keyboard noise is coming in. So I set this up as a noise gate is what I meant. So it set it up like a noise gate, right around, -30, -29. And then that seems to eliminate, if I'm typing on the keyboard or if I'm gaming, those noises will not come through. Obviously, if you're talking, they're still going to come through. But if you're not talking on the mic, then you should be good. I think I left everything as default. I think I moved this up to 3.7. Anywhere between 3 and 4 is good there. Hard for knee is good. Detect normal, I think that's all default. So the next one, I added in a compressor. So basically what a compressor does is it helps even out your entire voice. So there's not a lot of peaking, there's not a lot of quiet parts. It basically just takes the average, level for your voice and it just makes it more consistent. So again, what I did with this one, added the compressor up on this drop down. There's a lot of preset options here. So I just picked the fader ride vocal option. You can pick any of these. You can tweak this as you want. I don't have enough knowledge on how to go into this specifically and what you'll need to do. But I would encourage you just to go in here if you want to change the attack a little bit, if you want to change the ratio. There's also YouTube videos out there that'll go into this in more detail. But I found that just keeping it as the stock seemed to help, so I'm just going with that. And then I added on an additional EQ. So what I did here is I found that, with a cheap microphone, especially one like this, it can sound kind of tinny. It can sound kind of empty. So I added another EQ and I selected this preset of band full vocals. So that is just something that helps it just sound a little fuller, just a little better overall, a little more professional. But again, you can go in here. There's presets for a lot of different things. If you want your voice to sound a lot clearer, you can select this clear vocals. So if I do that now, it probably sounds a little bit clearer. And you can go back, keep it as full vocals. That's kind of what I like my voice to sound like. And then the very last one is this master limiter. So basically what I did with this is I just kept it as default. This just makes it so that even if you yell really, really loud, your levels aren't going to go up above, a volume where it's going to clip really bad for everyone to hear. Just something that's probably good practice to put on there. So those are all the settings that I have. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to turn off the effects so you can kind of hear what it sounds like. And then I'm going to turn them back on just so you can really hear the difference in, the default sound and how much these effects can add to the professionalism of your voice. So I'm going to turn them off now. So this is what what my microphone sounds like, with no filters on it whatsoever. You can see in Voicemeeter, I don't have any of, the voice panel, any of the adjustments made. So it just sounds, kind of empty, doesn't sound very professional. And then once you turn this back on, you can see that there's not any humming in the background. There's not any, you can't hear the fans blowing. My voice probably sounds just a lot clearer, a lot fuller. So that is just the value that you can add from, some free software. It's pretty simple to do. You can see I did this in about 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And it really just adds so much to your streams, to any voiceovers, if you're working from home, just to your meetings in general. the point of this video is that you don't have to go out and buy a $150 microphone to sound good. I think the vast majority of streamers out there, people that are just trying to have, a budget setup, this will work perfectly fine for a lot of people. So the other part of this video that I wanted to show, for people like me, I have a headset that I use for gaming. I have this plug and play mic that I use for everything else, like I mentioned. One thing that you can do, so inside Voicemeeter, if you remember down here, I selected these input 3 left and right. That's because my headset microphone is set as the hardware input for 3. So what you can do if you ever want to switch and use your actual headset mic, it's really easy to do. So you just go back into your preferences. And if you remember in the device setting over here, keep everything set up the way it is. But you can just change the inputs and outputs. Instead of 1, you can just change those to 3. Oh, I'm going to keep this as 1 really quick, just to note that my sound might cut out. But change them to 3 and we'll see what this sounds like. So change that to 3. Okay. So now it should be coming through. Let me pull up my Voicemeeter. Yep, you can see right here. So my headset mic is now the sound that's coming through. And the reason that I have these 2 different settings is I went through those exact steps that we just did with my headset mic. Obviously, it's going to have a different sound profile from my USB mic. So I went through, did pretty much the exact same settings just to set up the sound so you can hear what this sounds like. And then I'm also going to turn it off. So this is what it sounds like without any effects on it at all. Again, it probably sounds a little muddier, doesn't sound as clear. And then when you turn them back on, this is what it sounds like with just that cheap $35, plug and play mic that I have on my headset right now. So that should be the end of the tutorial. I really just wanted to make this to, help people that were looking to enhance the audio quality of their microphones. You don't have to do anything crazy. You don't have to spend any money. You don't have to buy any high-end equipment. Like I said, it's all free. It's easy to use software. So if there are any questions at all, leave them down in the comments below. Like I said, I'm not doing any post-production editing on this, so this is what your voice would sound like, in a stream, in a meeting, however you're using it. But if there's any questions, if you guys come across any roadblocks, let me know. I'm happy to help, and I'll check all the comments. But hopefully this helps some people enhance their setup a little bit. So thanks for checking this out, and I'll talk to you guys later.